you are now about to witness.
What is up? What is up? Welcome, everybody. It's me, Mark Wiggins. Welcome to Off the Bench Magazine, the special edition live highlight spotlight, whatever it is I decided to call it because I can't keep the name straight. But anyway, it's Mark Wiggins. And we're on today. We are doing an interview with a real special guest. She's a day oneer, Pertnier day one. Coming on and talking about some affirmations and some other things we got going on in our life and just general conversation with my good friend. From I think we met in Lord, we met in where we meet at, Nicole?
We met in Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, that's right. When Clubhouse was all the rage, and I had no iPhone, had to get an itty bitty small one from a friend so I could get on because I don't do Apple. And
you still don't do
huh?
You still don't do Apple?
No. I only do apple juice. I don't even mess with that at all. So I don't do apple. I mean, don't hate Nicole. But that's why I met you on Nicole. You're hosting some room or something, and I can't remember how it worked. So I was afraid to talk and whatever. So you were just chopping it up. I'm like, her voice is like, you should be doing audiobooks. That's what you should be doing. Audiobooks and doing some reading and something. And we hit on the side, talked about the magazine, and pow, 3 years later, here you are. So Nicole, I don't do bios, as you know. So tell everybody who you are and what you're up to.
Well, just like Mark introduced me, I'm Nicole Decandas. I'm an author and an accountability coach, which means that I hold you accountable. So if you have any goals, anything that you're trying to achieve, I make sure that you hit your benchmarks and your deadlines, and I give you, assistance with that along the way, and I help you to actually structure what it is that you're trying to do. So that's my purpose. But outside of that, professionally, also, I'm an educator. I'm a school administrator at an elementary school in Norfolk, Virginia, and I've been doing that for 24 years. Not the administration part, but just being in education. And
you don't even look like you're 24, so I don't know how you're pulling off down there in Norfolk.
I'm telling you. Drinking water and minding my business. That's how I do it.
I understand. So Nicole, we like I said, I will concur that you are the accountability coach. Again, we don't always talk often. I'm just reminding you, get your article in for the magazine. And she's in the magazine, everyone. She is a contributing writer for Off the Bench magazine. If you are subscribing, you've probably seen her do her thing on the Woke Wednesday as well. She just came out. There's another one coming out with her. I think you got all the month of September, August and September. I don't know what you say. Yeah, August, September. I'm like, is that what you said you're gonna do? August, September?
Yeah, August and September.
Because like the pastors do, they gotta take off and then come back for homecoming in September. So I'm gonna take my time off for my Woke Wednesday. So, but yes, so we're talking about, and she does call, and when we do talk, it is like that conversation of accountability. Where are you? What are you doing? I'm checking on you for things you said you're going to do, and you're checking on me and cross-checking me on things I said I was going to do. And even what I like about dealing with an accountability coach such as yourself is that even when there's slippage, right, there's no condemnation. There's no like, I can't believe you. It's just like, well, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to get back on track? And that's what an accountability coach actually does. Does it not?
Yes, it does. And basically, just knowing that problems have solutions. One thing that I can't take, whether it's in my personal life or my professional life, is that when a problem is presented, that that people don't present some type of solution. I remember having an administrator told me once, well, he told a group of us once, he was like a coach, and he said, do something even if it's wrong. And at first I was weak, I'm laughing, but it really made sense. What he was basically trying to say is, versus standing there and doing what you've always done or doing nothing, do something. Put your hand to the wheel and try something other than what you've been doing. So that's the whole point, is just understanding that, just like you said, we have slippage, we have times where we're not quite where we want to be or need to be, but kind of taking a step back and reassessing and figuring out what we need to do next, versus kind of dealing with the Captain Obvious stuff. We know that we we were late with a deadline. We know that we're behind on certain things. So why continue to recount that, move forward and just try to go ahead and do what's necessary to be done.
Absolutely. I mean, I think probably because you are in administration, like you probably use that on a daily, where people just didn't get it done, but they can get it done, and it's really not life or death per se, unless it's like a hard deadline, and so you have to encourage people to do better, right? That's the main thing, is we're going to try to do better. So is that how you got into your affirmations? We'll talk about you and your program and what you coach on. How did you actually get into I Affirm Today, or I Affirm You, or I Affirm Today? I have the book somewhere.
I know you do. I got into I Affirm Today because I was in a slump. This had to be 5 years ago, probably roughly about 5 to 6 years ago, because the book has been out for 4. And as I'm going through this process, I'm thinking, I need more out of my life. I'm not sure what the more is. I'm not even sure how to get to the more. It was almost like I knew that there was a destination called more out there, but I didn't have a map. I didn't have
a destination called more.
I didn't have a GPS, but I knew that land existed. And as I got to thinking, I came up with the structure of how to use affirmations in order to guide wherever your goals are. So that's how it happened for me. And I still have to go back and revisit my own work, because just because I wrote the book doesn't mean that I'm uber successful right now. So I have to go back and say, all right, you accomplish this, you accomplish that, but there's still more work to be done. So, as I was working through the process for myself, I shared it with a friend named Henri, who I mentioned in my book as well. A very good friend of mine. One of those, a lot of us, especially you, Mark, we're surrounded by people that are deep thinkers. And Henri is one of those people. She's a quiet storm. She's out here, making a fuss. But when you talk to her, she takes it all in, and then she spits out something, and you're like, wow, that was, profound. And as I was talking to her, she was like, well, Nicole, you really do need to write about that and share that with other people, because I think that other people could benefit from it. And like I told you before, sometimes, there are things that are given to us that are just for us, if that makes sense. So when you try to roll it out with other people, they may not get it the way it was given to you, because that was your process. It's something that you had to walk through or go through. But when I was talking to her, and she felt like it was something that was shareable, I was like, I try it. And she was my very first person, my very first client that was willing to roll it out and try it for herself. And she is like booming in the real estate business now, because she, utilized my strategies. She worked with me. I worked with her when it came to what she needed to do, and that's how it all kind of came to be 5 or 6 years ago, before I even started writing a book.
So what, you have the different components in there. What is your number one go-to affirmation in your program, or that you subscribe to in a daily? I know you got several, but which one do you lean on the most?
I lean on the most knowing your why, because every day we get up and we need to know why we're awake. We need to know why we're doing the things that we're doing. We need to really have a deep understanding, because if you don't know your why, you're liable to get pulled in so many different directions, because that's what life does. Life be lifing out here. So, so if you don't know your why, what ends up happening is that somebody would give you your why. Your boss would give you your why. Your spouse may give you your why. Your kids may give you your why. And that may not even be your total why. They're a part of it, but they're not the root cause of why you're here. So, going back every morning, just understanding, what is Nicole's purpose? Why was she born? What is it that she's meant to do ultimately on a global, bigger scale? But on a micro scale today, what am I really meant to do? So if you don't know what your why is, it's really easy for you to fall into all types of pitfalls and traps and get diverted and distracted. And before you know it, you wasted a day, a week, a month, a year, because you've been chasing all this other stuff, and you haven't really been true or authentic to what your why is.
That's true. I think oftentimes we do lose our why. I was actually talking to one of my mentees, and about that, and he was having struggles with his young son and sports and business. Like, he's a successful IT owner, blah blah blah, and his son is now of the age to play football. And we were having some king conversation, and he was trying to tell his son, basically not to do what I did. So I'm driving him differently. I said, did you explain to your son why you're pushing this way? Why are you doing this? And he's like,
yeah.
I don't know if I really explained it to him. I said, you cannot make the connection unless you explain the why. He said, I'm going to show him my grades. I didn't do well in school. I'm going to show. I said, that's great, but let him know why the push. And that way he can make his own assessment and put it together and develop his own why. And his own why should not be just to please you. That is not a good enough why. It is not sustainable. But it's something you teach our young kids at a young age, how to make sure they know what they want to do and why they're doing it. I think they can have a better chance of being successful earlier in life.
And that's a fact, because, think about so many people. Like, I was reading the 5-second rule not so long ago, and Mel has a lot of different instances where people were going to school and they were in programs that they hated. And the whole thing was, it was because that's what their parents wanted them to do. Or, some people in relationships that were just, failing. And a part of it was that they were still in them because that was the expectation. If you got married, you to stay married, work it out, that type of thing. And sometimes it goes in that direction, and sometimes it doesn't. That's why we have a divorce rate of 51%, and even higher within the African American church or within the church, if you're a religious person. So, getting back to what you're saying about, what's for you, is that, we're all individuals, and it's really easy for us to kind of piggyback or latch on to what somebody else is doing because they're pretty much giving you their blueprint. So it's easy for me to pick up your blueprint and follow it versus creating my own, because I know that if I follow what Mark did, then I can't fail. But if I go out here, potentially I can't fail, but if I go out here and create my own blueprint, I chart my own path, the likeliness of me not being successful right at the gate is highly likely, because there's a trial and error period. There's a learning curve period. So, we have to be willing to take that level of risk to say, I'm not going to be good at everything. I may not experience the success right off the bat, but if I'm consistent and I work at what I know to be true and I'm authentic about who I am, then the success will come. But it's a lot of us, it's just easier just to go on to get along, because, that way we don't have to explain ourselves and we don't have to try to do anything different or out of the box.
Yeah, that's one of the tougher things I've had to deal with this year, is as I undefer my word of the year, is to be able to move in my own space and pace and not explain it nor give two damns about what people think about it. If this is what Mark wants to do, Mark is going to go do it with, unashamed and unafraid, right? Well, that wasn't always the case. So, and it just runs the gamut, whether it's a new business venture or just step out in different directions and do some things for investments, whatever. That, I'm not sure why you're doing that. Well, I don't want to explain it to you. I'm not quite sure either why I'm doing it, but I think I need to give it a try. So being able to do that and understand what the why is and driving makes it difficult. But wouldn't I tell you this, as we talked about on the phone several times, when I execute what I'm executing, I feel a whole lot better than trying to execute something that you did and can't figure out why it's not working. When I'm executing and deliver, then it's me. I fail, it's me. It's not because of, I knew it wasn't going to work because Nicole said it didn't do it. I don't trust to know that going way. I affirm nothing. That's what I'm affirming. I'm affirmed that whatever you told me wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? That's not helpful. It's not helpful at all.
It's not. And the whole thing having affirmations is that affirmations are based off of a fact versus a feeling. Because Our feelings are so deceptive. They're like the biggest liars that are a part of your life. You may think your ex was a big liar. you may think you may think your boss was a big liar. You may think, your best friend, the person you used to hang out with was a big liar. But no, the biggest liar, that you could ever have is basing anything off of feelings, because feelings change. You wake up in the morning feeling one way. By the afternoon, you're somebody different. By the evening, so if you rank anything based off of your feelings, then you're going to be moved by every wind and doctrine. So you have to base it off of facts. You have to base it off of, hard understandings of who it is that you want to be and where it is that you want to go. And then that way, when people come to you with their feelings, because a lot of times opinions are feelings,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I feel, I think, and it's predicated on everyone else's level of failure or success. And that bleeds into what you're trying to do, and then you're trying to figure out why you all over the place, because you're basing what it is that you're trying to do off of emotions. So that's why the biggest component of affirmations is really getting down to the nitty-gritty of your why, and then assign it to, like I've said in my book, assign it to, some very powerful sayings, like whether it's a quote that you live by that your grandma used to tell you, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a scripture or a religious, tenet that you subscribe to, or it could be just something profound that your best friend said. Sometimes you can be having conversations and a friend would drop some value or a nugget. You're like, wow. And you can add that. So whenever you get in doubt, or whenever you get to a place where you don't know what to do, you kick that affirmation, I affirm today, blase, blase, where is your affirmation is for that day or that moment or that era or what you're working on. And you connect it to a fact, like, whether it's a statistic, a number, a goal, then you have something solid to root it in. Because every day we wake up feeling different. And by the end of the day, we're a different type of person. So that's where I think that affirmations are powerful, because we take the feelings out of it, and we take the, I guess, that magic, what is it, that pixie dust type of, you know you know it's like whatever we're feeling, whatever we're believing, that starry eye, oh, no, we take all that out and we base it on something that's a little bit more solid.
But when you deal, like, people have trouble dealing with facts and feelings because of the coldness of it all, right? Like you say, emotions. I'm a very passionate person, as you know, very emotional, driven. I'm up, down, whatever, right? But when you get to the facts, it's just black and white. It's cold, and I think we have hard time accepting that this is what it is. This is where you have to right there. These are the facts. You know what I'm saying? Now, what's next? What you felt in the moment is irrelevant to what happens next. So, getting out of our feelings and into our bag to get things done is oftentimes what keeps us on the bench. Our feelings and emotions about our projected preeminent doom and failure keeps us on the bench. Those are feelings. That's not fact. It's
That
not.
is, that's the truth. And I was thinking about failure today because someone sent me, I guess, there was somebody was trying, be encouraging or motivational, and he was talking about, about failure. And one thing about failure is that it's so laden with emotion, is unreal. It gets into how you experience that moment when it happened, when you were denied a job, when you were handed those divorce papers, when that person said something out their mouths that you never expected them to say, that was hurtful or unkind.
Mhm.
And it takes you back to that place, and when it takes you back to that place, it takes you back to those emotions. So you all of a sudden you feel the tears again. You remember what those tears felt like. You remember your heart racing. You remember the blood surging through your veins. You remember all that.
Mhm.
And in all that, you can't even see the facts of anything that was going on, because you're so wrapped up and on how mentally and physiologically you were impacted by the event. So you can't get past that.
Mhm.
And like you said, it benches you, because once you get wrapped up into that, all bets are off. No one can tell you, 1,000 people will walk up to you and say, Mark, you're successful, you're doing so much, you've come so far. Look at where you are compared to what your parents did. Look at how far you've come compared to what you were doing before COVID. I mean, I know you've had some challenges, but look, you kept pressing through. You're hearing all that, but it's being stopped up because all you can remember is, I remember when I went and asked this person for their sponsorship and they told me no. I remember, I remember how dumb I felt. I went up to shake somebody's hand and thought I was going to be, welcomed, and they kind of gave me the short look like, and who are you? And you're still there. It's like, still there.
What'd you say? Whole total replay of the joint. I watched the whole movie, killed both people, blew up your car, your house, and like, okay, all right. Oh my God. You talking about funny. This other day, I had some trauma at work a couple of years ago, right? And it was so bad that, I'm calling my sister, Dr. Wiggins, we on the phone, she talking me through. I still have reactions when certain things are said or done at the job. And it reminds me of what happened. So this lady, she called in and said, hey, I'm going to see your MOU. Oh, no. Because the last time somebody asked my MOU, they wanted to try to do this and try to get my board. And I was like, why am I responding this way? Why am I reacting this way? She hit the trigger because it was some unresolved issues with that, right? I'm very defensive about that whole scenario. It almost took me out. I was ready to quit, walk out. And the lady kept asking for it and asking, but she was very, very cryptic in her request, and that's kind of how our work does. When you start seeing cryptic, there's more to the question.
Yes,
and you get prepared for it. So I'm ready for a fight. I got my sleeves up. I told my deputy, let's meet with her. I got something for her. I went home. I promise you, Nicole, I went through the whole emotions of what happened, how I felt, what I said it would never happen again, and I wish somebody would. You know what I'm saying? And then it hit me. I was like, well, maybe she just really want to know something else. Maybe she wants to sell some products to the store. Maybe she really wants to. No, that's not what's happening. That's exactly what it was. She sat down and she was like, oh my God, I think I stirred up a hornet's nest. I just wanted to know, and I didn't know what to do. But a friend of mine said, in this environment, people act A, B, C, D, E, F, G in this particular space. You work in a different space. So what she has done is taken this methodology and applied it to this situation because that's what she knows.
Yes.
And that ain't right, but you can't go in there ready to fight because you don't know what you want. And exactly, at the end of the day, she just really want to know how to sell merchandise in the store. I was all in the bag, girl. I was deep in, ready to fight. But
it took you all the way out because, again, you got wrapped up in the emotion. All you couldn't even hear her. All you could hear, all you could see, all you could feel at that time was what happened those years ago when this request was made originally, and you subscribe that to her. And that happens in relationships too. It's like if you had like a bad experience in a relationship, and we don't know that something's unresolved until we are triggered, to be honest with you. There's certain triggers that's they're just there and you work your way through them, but they're new triggers. They're things and it kind of like unearths some latent issues or latent defects in our emotions and our feelings and our character, and we have to kind of peel back and really assess what's going on. And when we get to those moments, we have to really ask ourselves, am I living in today or am I living in yesterday? Because if I'm living in yesterday, that means I have a really good chance of answering this situation with yesterday's solutions, and I'm in a very today problem. That's the equivalent of me breaking out an abacus when I need a scientific calculator. I can't. There's someone out here that could probably work those little bees, boo, 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 and get to that solution. But that problem that's presented to you today is not the same problem. So you're trying to address it with the wrong tools. So you really have to sit back and understand what you're dealing with in this moment, not in that moment. Now, what people will say to you is, okay, well, Nicole, are you saying that I'm supposed to forget what happened to me? Absolutely not. But you're not supposed to bring it all with you. It's like when you go on a trip, do you take, no, okay, I may need to clear this up for some people. Some
Right,
people,
coach. Clean that up. Clean it up.
they may take everything in their house, like, 9 bags. They're looking like, a king when he came to America, and come to America. But we don't take everything with us on the trip. We take the essentials. So when you have a negative experience or you have a life lesson, you take out that the essentials. What do I need to know that can potentially help me moving forward? You don't take everything with you from that situation, because everything with you from that situation don't need to go. How you responded, you cut somebody out and you probably shouldn't have done that. You keyed somebody's car, you probably shouldn't have done that. Yes, you drove past their house 9 times. You probably shouldn't have done that.
That's fair. That's
You know
fair.
you don't want to take all that with you. You want to take what you learned the most out of that situation with you in order to help you with today's situation moving forward. And I think that's the part that we don't do. We pack it all. We're like, you know what? I'm taking them skis. I'm taking that bullhorn. I'm taking those binoculars. I'm taking this spare time. I'm taking it all with me on this. No, all of it doesn't need to go with you into this situation, because not all of it is useful.
No, you didn't say everything. The skis. You started reminding me of the jerk, Steve Martin. All I'm taking is this chair. All I need is this.
I love that. That's like a classic.
But that's a good point. Those are good points. So good, Miss Nicole Decandas. What is the best way to help cut this off? The emotions are going to show up, right? And you have a choice to make. I can either allow them to run full flood, or I shut them off at the pass. If I acknowledge them or something, how do you recommend we do that? Because when the emotions come, we need a device, mechanism, or defense practice to put that back where it belongs until it doesn't come up anymore. What do you recommend?
The first thing you need to do is take a breath, because what happens is I don't know what's happened to us over time, but we have some very high trauma responses, and I see it every day. I see it with the parents I deal with. I see it with the teachers I deal with. I see it when I go in the store, whether it's with situations myself or just standing back like, wow, that was extra. You kind of see some stuff going on. You're like, it didn't take all that. We have some very high trauma responses. And a part of the reason that we do is that we are so quick to react versus respond, that before we can even catch ourselves, we've already said something that was too much. We've already done something that was too much. We haven't really thought everything all the way out. Everything doesn't require an immediate response right now. I'll give you a good example. When I was a teacher years back, I had a principal that used to stand in front of the building, and she would greet every single child. That was her thing. And one thing she said to us in like pre-service week, when you're getting school geared up, she was like, please do not ever come to me while I'm doing that to ask me anything. If you have a problem, a question, anything going on, please don't do that, because while I'm doing that, I'm not focused, and I need to be able to truly attend to what it is that you're saying. Now, at first I thought to myself, well, how hard can it be for you to just say hi to this child? If I I was thinking just globally, about what she said, because I would not walk up to her first thing in the morning, because Ms. Griffin was always running late, so she never had to worry about that. But I was okay. I was sneaking through the back door to my classroom, so it would never be me. But it kind of made me think, how is it you're not able? And I'm thinking, how is it you're not able to chew gum and walk at the same time? I should be able to look at this kid, good morning, answer a question about lunch, and keep it pushing. I understood what she had to say as years went along, because what it pretty much meant is, I want to give you a full and complete answer that that I won't ever have to retract or revisit or review potentially. Not saying there may not be some tweaks along the way, but there's been times if someone's asked you something and hates, you responded quickly just to get them out your face, and then later on you're like, I probably shouldn't have said it that way. I probably should have added more, to that, and it required you to have to go revisit that issue again. Had you just taken the time to step back, take a breath, and give it a minute, a minute. But we don't want to do that, because in our mind, I want to get it off my plate. No, it needs to stay right there. It needs to stay right. It needs to stay on your plate for a minute until you're able to deal with it effectively versus trying to cram it all down, you know, and try to move on to the next thing, because ultimately it's going to end up choking you in the end. So that's what you need to do. Everybody needs to sit back when they feel the emotions well up, sit back and take a breath, and again think, am I responding based off of today or based off of how this thing made me feel yesterday? Because if I respond based off of today's knowledge is this. I don't want to say or do anything that I'm going to regret later on. Period. so that's how I take myself back, because this mouth is fast. And it's eating, and once it gets going,
right. Going.
And then some things I don't regret, because people say, I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret. No, because sometimes I feel like I said what I said. I meant what I said, so I said it. I don't regret it. I probably should. So that means I really don't need to say it. So that's why we need to really step back and really recognize where we are in that moment when those emotions come up.
Well, Nicole, I can't see you clapping back on somebody. I really can't get that vibe from you. I'm just saying, the whole elementary thing and children. You're ready to put somebody in a Ric Flair chokehold. I got it. This is coming off the road. Woo, baby. But that's what's up. That's good, because, we do need, I think, when we're trying to be better than yesterday, we need to have those tools in place and be willing to use them, right? We're willing to use everything else. I'm ready to use your past against you. I'm ready to use some stats against you. I got receipts, and they're in the cloud, right? I'm pulling them straight on down, but I will not use the tools I need to make me be better than I need to be than I was, right? Everybody say better. So that's we to be better in those spaces, and being aware and accountable, as you're talking about, will do that and help with the affirmation, because that's what's crucial. Because Alex, I too have the ability to say stuff that I probably shouldn't say when I say it, and I usually mean what I say, and it's harsh. I have to watch that. I've been told, you're so harsh. You should meet my daddy. So anyway, so that's why it's a learned trait. It's absolutely a responsible learned trait. But anyway, we all should be better and learn to keep our emotions under control. But that's part of the journey that we're on. So
exactly.
So Nicole, so we wrapping this down. So what do you have working? What's coming up in your bailiwick, Donna? What's happening?
Well, of course, Mark, has asked me to do Woke Wednesday for the rest of August, going through September. So you'll have the benefit of me giving some nuggets for just 2 to 3 minutes, no longer than that. So I'll be doing that. Of course, I'll be writing, bi-monthly, in Off the Bench magazine, so you can see me there. The other thing that I'm doing is I am going to revamp, going onto my own platforms, and giving information out, and just engaging with people, because, I haven't quite done it as much as I used to. I haven't been as visible. So I'm getting my visibility back. So look forward to seeing, Nicole Decandas on a weekly basis, or however things kind of pop off with me, to be able to share, information, kind of keep people encouraged out there, because there's a lot going on and we're all trying to achieve and do some things. So that's where I am right now. But just stay tuned, because, I have my line still. So I need to push that. So look out for merch. Look out for me, being on my platforms, which at this time is Facebook and Instagram. And that's where I'll be, giving those nuggets and those truths to kind of help people move forward.
That's what's up. And again, we're so glad that you are in the magazine. I love reading your works. I love your information. I love your energy. Since day one, literally, I was like, "Yo, I need her on the magazine." I slid in the DMs. Hey, and they talked to you about me in my magazine. You're like, "Who is this? What magazine? You ain't no doggone magazine." But yes, I do. And you've been in ever since. So appreciate you doing it and willingness to step up. And I offer the platform out to everybody who I connect with on that level. So my platform is open. You want to come on, do your thing. We work it out. I don't particularly care. It's not about how many times I can be seen. It's about how many times I can get other people to see you, right? And doing that work for me satisfies the original goal, was to create opportunities for the people in my cohort to work on their messages, right? And I still do it, right? I still have it out here. So some people still do it, some don't. It's okay. I used to be offended by it. How could you not? And then it's like that they made that about you. It's really not. So I've made offers. They come, they don't. I can carry a whole show and a magazine if I need to by myself. Don't want to, but I'm so glad that you are a part of it. So I'm gonna give you hot 30 seconds or so to leave some parting shots with our audience. And you're on. You can you hear me?
Yep, you kind of like faded out for a second to give some parting shots. One thing I would like to say is that I believe that this is the year of you get whatever you ask for. And the danger in that is that whatever is coming out of your mouth is going to manifest. I've seen it happen. I don't know what it is about 2023, and I've seen it in the positive, but I've also seen it in the negative, where people have just spoken just unaware. You think that your words don't have spirit and they don't have life, and you think that what you're saying isn't going to root itself and grow any fruit, and you don't realize that it does. And I think that this is happening for a time for people who are true believers in manifestation. So if you're a true believer in manifestation, that the work that you put out here, what you sow that you reap, then you're going to get the benefits of that. But if you truly do not subscribe to that and you don't understand how it works, then you're going to end up reaping those negative outcomes, because you just can't say whatever you want out your mouth and not think it's not going to come back. So I just want to put that out to people that this is the year that you're going to get whatever you say. So, be very, very careful and aware of when you speak about your health, when you speak about other people, when you speak about your own destiny, when you speak about what you believe about yourself. Don't just cursory go around saying, I'm so tired, when you haven't really assessed how tired you are. Don't go around saying, I don't feel well, or always speaking about the illness versus the healing. So just if you're going to speak about being ill, speak about, I might not be feeling well right now, but I'm believing I'm healing, as I go along, or healing is for me. You have to follow it up with something positive. You just can't leave that negative out there just clamoring. You just can't say, well, that ain't gonna work out, or the way it was last year's way it's gonna be this year. Okay, you're going to get more of the same. You have to be extremely careful. And I'm not sure how long this, direct result of what you say you're going to get back is going to last. That the turnaround is quick, but I've seen it. I'm just putting it out there. This is your time. So anybody that's watching this and they're like, I want you to see me in a year and tell me what happened, because I'm seeing it in my own life. Whatever you say out your mouth, just know it's going to manifest.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. We look forward to you on the Woke Wednesdays coming up. And as always, you are running the room. I love it. I love it. Talk to you later.
Take care, Mark. Take care, everyone.
All right, everybody. That was Nicole Decandas hiding in with us right now. Just as I wrap it down, let's make sure I let you know again about the book project that's working called King Conversations, the book or anthology. Yes. And it's finally trying to take the legs that I needed it to take as far as Kings responding. The project is taking legs. And this is a call for any king out there that has a message that they would like to share with other kings or the young kings. A philosophy you live by, some big mama don't taught you, something you learned along the way, something you've modified now and you are teaching to your children and to people in your sphere of influence in your kingdom that you would like to share. The project is easy. There is no cost to get in the project. So there goes that one excuse. Oh, Mark, I don't write books at all. Okay, I can record you. So there goes that excuse. So the only real excuse is, are you going to commit to the project or not? And just to let you know that this project was a heart project. That's why it's free for people to get in the book. And the book will be sold afterwards, but it's no charge to get in. These projects can run easily $800-900 to get in, right? Been in a couple of them. So I don't want to remove that barrier, especially when it comes to men. We're not that good at that. And just when I thought that the project wasn't going to yet again turn down, people started coming out of woodworks. And I got a call the other night from a friend who used to go to a church. We used to go to church together years ago. I didn't know his number still on my phone. He pops up like, who is this? And he told me who it was. I said, good brother, how you doing? I'm great. I'm great. Didn't you write a book? Well, and just so happens I wrote several books. What do you need? Long story short, I told him about the project. And I said, it's not a coincidence you called me on this evening. It's not a coincidence you happen to run across the mind. For whatever you thought you were calling for, that's not why you called. And I had to remind myself that God is moving this project. Then I get another hit from one of my homies that I grew up with. And he patches in like, Mark, I'm ready to tell my story. Bruh, I'm ready to hear it. I know it, but there's so much more to it. And that's what I'm looking for. So if you find yourself in that space, that want to be in this project, hit me up and let's get in the project. I mean, literally, and I'll say this and I'll move on. I got an inbox from a lady said, Mark, I like my husband to be in this project. I was like, absolutely. I said, but there's one thing though. You may not want him in the project. First of all, why did you bring it up? Second of all, she said, well, the reason he may not want to be in because he's in prison. I said, so what's the problem? She said, you want to hear it? Absolutely. I need to hear what he has to say. He's got something to say. If he's reached out wanting to be in this project, so let's have him say it. My point is the messages are coming from everywhere. And when they come together and the book aligns itself, I promise you, you're going to want this book to give to your young king. It is for the boys. It's for the young kings out here. If you want your daughters to read it, that's great too. But it is for the young kings out here. That's the practice. Anyway, getting into the book, make sure you're hitting that. Again, subscribe to the podcast, the magazine, authorbenchmagazine.com. We have a lot of stuff coming down the pike as it pertains to podcasts and opportunities. I'll share more about that later. But let me leave you with this. Affirmations are something that we all need to do better at, myself included. I'm notoriously critical of myself. I'm always pushing that it's never good enough and it's not strong enough, or why did you do this, or you're second guessing yourself. But there comes a point in time where you need to do better at about affirming oneself, not affirming what is negative, affirm what is true, even though believing what is negative is actually affirming it to be negative. So you have to watch that, right? That's a trick. There's a trick in there. But be careful about how you were. Nicole's 100% right. I was listening to everything she said and like, yeah, I did that today. That's not good. But the time in between when you do it and when you fix it is we can get shorter and we can rebound a little bit faster. If we can say, as they say in sports, get ready for the next play faster, the better off you'll be in the long run. Because then, you allow those feelings to happen for you, but don't stay there. Move on to the next thing. So anyway, just make sure that we are all trying to live in these last few months, get out this year, sticking with our word. My word is undefer. I'm still undeferring things even as we speak. And it's been a great year. Ups, downs, highs and lows, challenges and people passing and whatever. It's still been a great year, right? So let's make sure we stay on top of our game. And I'll leave you with this, as always, if you can reach your dreams with a step ladder, then they're probably too low.